What was it like living in 2004? What's up, preppers? Welcome back to another video. This is another one about the cost of living in the UK, because this is a follow-on from the first one we did. Only because we had so many comments and so many comparisons of how people used to live. It's great to see the people that bought their houses 20, 30 years ago who said they managed it, no problem, blah, blah, blah. And how can't people manage now? Well, it's time to look at them differences. And luckily, I came across a house on Zoopla that had been sold in 2004 and again was listed in 2024. So it's a lovely, nice 20-year gap. So what was it like living in 2004? Well, let's start with the big one, the house. In 2004, this house sold for £27,000. In 2024, this same house will cost you £175,000. Now, obviously, there's conditions on this that we can't quite match up, whether a kitchen's new or whether it's had a new bathroom or whether it needed work, etc. But these are kind of averages across the board. When I was looking at other properties, I found one in 2001 that sold for 33,000 and now at 210. So you can see there's kind of a average rating there of the percentage. Now, the percentage of that increase does work out at 548% increase. So it's a 548% more to purchase the same house 20 years later. And I know what you're going to say, inflation, things like that. Now, let's compare that with how much you might be earning at the time. And I'm not going to base it off a really well-paid job, something amazing. We're going to talk about minimum wage values. So the minimum wage value, 1st of October 2004, for somebody aged 22 years or older, so the higher band, was £4.85. Not bad. April 2024, 21 and over, £11.44. Now, that's 135% increase. We're starting to see the difference. So our cost of housing has gone up by 548%, but our wage has gone up 135%. Wonder why not as many people are getting onto the property ladder. Now, not just that, in this video, people had a go at my gas and electric prices, and they were saying that I'm paying too much. Now, I did state in the video, these are not my payments. This is not my costs. I'm not divulging you my personal financial information. This was national averages. Very simple statistics that you can Google yourself. So please don't take everything as like I'm telling you this is what I pay. But based on averages, electricity cost in 2004 for a year was £284. Average. 2024, £661. Now that's not too bad in line with the salary, with the wage increase, because that's 132% increase. Gas on average, £340 in 04, £717 in 2024. Again, based on averages, 110% increase. So again, quite in line with wages. So although we think gas and electric's a big bill, it has gone up quite in line, if not a bit less than percentages up until a certain point. And obviously we're getting these big hikes now and we're feeling the pinch, but that's nowhere near as much as the cost of the housing. Now, to get council tax on that property in 2004 would have cost you £824 a year. That same property in 2024, on average, £2,061 a year, 149% increase. So you can see the trend with the housing. Anything to do with the council tax or the actual cost of housing, the rental prices reflect exactly the same as these mortgage prices, we're talking a massive increase and above the increase of wages. This is why the cost of living in this country is becoming unbearable. People can't afford the housing. The other big cost these days is the price of food. And again, people will dismiss this as inflation, things like that. But let's look at what food's gone up by. Now, I was lucky enough to come across an article that was actually published in 2004 with current prices. There was all sorts of stuff on there. So I've picked out a few key elements that more or less I would have ate in 2004 and see what the difference is now. So, if you were lucky, you'd get a tin of Heinz beans. In 2004, that was 39p. In 2024, that same can of beans will cost you £1.40. That's a 263% increase in Heinz beans. 135% increase in wage, 263% increase in the cost of your tin of Heinz beans. But who pays for Heinz beans? The cheap beans. They're 11p in 2004, and I'm pretty sure you could get them for 9p at places like Aldi. But we're going to go off this article. 11 pence. Now, 27 pence. That's a 145% increase. So even the cheap beans have gone up 10% more than your wage has. Kingsmill bread. Now, Kingsmill, they've done a good job. They've kept it low. 79p in 2004, so you probably think it's quite expensive then. £1.30 now, only a 64% increase. Now, what would I put on my Kingsmill bread in 2004? Fish fingers. Fish finger sandwiches. And no, wasn't bird's eye, nothing fancy, cheap fish fingers. 2004, cheap fish fingers would have cost you 24 pence. Bargain. Now, them same cheap fish fingers, if you're lucky, will cost you 80 pence. Now, I've seen them a lot more than that, to be fair, so you've got to be lucky to get them at that price. But even at that, that's a 233% increase. Cheap sausages, you know, the packs of 8 fridge sausages, just the home brand, whatever they've decided to call it this week. It used to be Smart Price, and now they're naming them all sorts of different things. Back then, 44 pence for these cheap pack of sausages. The same cheap pack of sausages now, £1.50. A 240% increase in the cost of sausages.
Walt, now you're talking sausages.
Madness. So, before the older generation looks down on the generations below, saying, oh, well, I worked all the hours and I bought a house and I paid off my mortgage and blah, blah, blah.
Luxury.
Please look at the numbers. Do the math. Doesn't take a genius to realise the cost of living in this country is astronomical, especially if you want to get anywhere. Now, them house prices are based on a 3-bedroom semi. Yes, you can get cheaper houses and you can get more expensive. But 3-bed semi, it's the Englishman dream, right? And some would say that £175,000 house is quite cheap. And I'll tell you, it's not the best area that that's in. And if you're going further south, it's going to cost you a lot more. So how can we solve this cost of living crisis? I honestly do not see a way forward, especially when it comes to the cost of housing. We know that you can't suddenly increase the minimum wage by 500% because that would put a lot of people out of work because employers wouldn't be able to afford to pay them that overnight. That change would be too severe. So something's got to be done about the costs. And there's no point subsidizing the gas and electric because that's about on par with how much your wages have gone up. It's just your rent and your mortgage that are absolutely rinsing you, and the cost of simply eating. Shelter and food, two of the most essential things that you can have, and the prices are through the roof. I haven't gone into too many details on things like water bills because I just simply couldn't get accurate information from 2004. Some places were saying different to others. So I didn't want to put it on here because you know what you're going to get all the way through this is keyboard warriors who don't even watch the full length of the video, just type it in, you are wrong about this number, based on averages, based on research. And the house that I showed you is an actual listing you can probably find now. So go and look it up yourself. If you go to Zoopla and find a house in your area, scroll to the bottom, there's a little bit that says history of this listing, and you can click on that and it will tell you how much it's sold for over the years every time it's been listed, if it has. Very interesting to see. Find a house near you and let me know the price difference below over the years, and we'll see how it compares across the country. More importantly, let me know how you think we could solve this ongoing crisis in this country and how we can get a better standard of living for our generation and the generations to come.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Thanks for watching this video, guys. Like I say, just a little follow-up from the previous one. So anyone that made it all the way through, I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, leave your comment below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Yeah.